Welcome to another edition of the Low Code Campfire. This is episode number 164 for September 2024. We've hit our quorum, so we've got our minimum number to begin, and so we will. Today is an open lines Friday, but there's several things on the list to talk about, so here we go. This is an event that we do every Friday at this hour, 10 a.m. Central Time. It's an opportunity to get together with other low coders, plant an app users, and learn from each other, learn from what's going on, and just have an open conversation about plant an app and development. So everyone's welcome, all skill levels welcome. We record all these and put them on YouTube, usually within a few hours after the webinar, after the meeting's over. So they're all out there, 163 episodes. You can go to youtube.com/plantanap and subscribe. We run this agenda week by week. We stop and say hello because it is a friendly gathering around the campfire. And then after that, we go with first call, whatever anybody came to the meeting that wanting to discuss, and things that were submitted in advance. And then we take a tour around some of our other things, our community campfire website, feature requests. Sometimes we tell ghost stories, but after an hour or so, we go into Afterglow. That's the segment where we turn off the recording, raise a virtual adult beverage. Well, virtual, that's up to you, but for me, it's a little early, and just enjoy each other a little bit more. So jump in, show and tell. You can just engage with us. You can show your screen. We just really want you to engage. You can submit things in advance here, or you can send me an email, support@plantanap.com. Hello all. Like I say, we hit a quorum. Thanks for coming, Mark.
Hello, hello. Good to see you guys.
Howdy.
So, Mark, did you bring anything?
On the
Put you
spot.
right on the spot.
I can see that coming.
Hmm.
Um, no, I didn't. I was a little bit rushed to get here on time, and I didn't collect thoughts beforehand. So,
Well,
um,
not, I really don't mean to put you on the spot. We have stuff to talk about, and I'm going to get it out there. So here we go. First, we'll do version check-in. We released, what was it, June? I have to use my fingers now, July, August, September. So 3 months ago, a little more than 3 months ago, we released version 1.26. There's one main known issue, the drag and drop. People who are relying on drag and drop, um, that functionality is currently broken. We have a fix, and then we actually have it available, and we could release it in limited, according to your needs. But it is actually pending release, pending some dependency stuff. And I thought it might be fun to take a look at a little behind the scenes tour here. Because this is something that I mean, Patrick has worked a great deal on, and others as well. But this is the Plantain app system that we use to release things that, as our cards make it through development, and finally our process is we do development. There's a code review where experts look over and argue about whether or not we've changed the code appropriately. But after code review, it goes into our QA team. We have a QA team of 3 people who someone will take it on and check it out and make sure that it works the way it's intended. And then many times it goes to UAT, user acceptance testing, and that's typically Patrick or I or other people serve to review things from a UAT standpoint, just to make sure that it hit the target, and just another set of eyes on it. So we do some pretty exhaustive things, and when it's all over with, it goes to a done status. And then all these things, anything that makes it to a done status shows up here in our product changes. So these things are ready to release, and Patrick, it's kind of a complex process because we have many people baking with the same ingredients all at the same time. So For example, this drag and drop has to do with action grid. There's some other things going on with the action grid module. And so those changes are in the product, but they haven't made it all the way through the quality assurance and user acceptance testing process. So because of that, because those changes are in but haven't made it all the way through the process, we are holding release of it. So for example, with drag and drop, we can take a look and see that there's some work that was done having to do with the skeleton loading screen, and it's incomplete. And until that gets complete or otherwise resolved, we don't want to release incomplete code to fix drag and drop. Now,
Something I hadn't noticed before is that the same work item is listed twice, and that shouldn't be. So I may have to go back and take a look at that.
Yep, and that could be two different
Builds on the same work item. Yeah, maybe so. Yep.
Something like that. But yeah, it'd be fun to eliminate that. It certainly doesn't hurt. And then we have because this particular change, fixed drag and drop, is impacts both Action Grid and App Builder is kind of our main module. So lots and lots of changes also impact App Builder. And so the same one is also waiting. And yeah, the thing that you just mentioned is also an issue here. It's showing multiple times. But the main thing, I mean, this is incredible work that Patrick has contributed, because we've got a great guy who's been, I think, on this call before, Manu, that can kind of do all this in his head, what the dependencies are, what other tickets are going on, but it's really hard to keep track of in your head to understand all the different things that are open. And so this most recent change, if something is ready to go, instead of seeing a show dependencies button, we have a publish button. And but the show dependencies gets us right to what's going on. And so we're in the we have some different things that are going on, need to be resolved, and as soon as they are, we can release the fixed drag and drop. Now, as I mentioned, this is available. I can hand this to you privately as a hot fix. So if you're trying to do drag and drop, and with knowing that we have these couple of and maybe cosmetic things going on that haven't been resolved, that we can kind of evaluate and say, well, here's the risk that you take by accepting this drag and drop. Hello, Matt. We were just talking about fixing drag and drop and why it's being held up. But so if you were knowing, we can correctly help you evaluate the risk of taking a hot fix that isn't quite ready to go, and provide good information about what you may see that's different. And so in this case, it's relatively cosmetic, and yet it's really up to you whether you want to proceed with that hot fix. I wish I had one here to show you that was ready to go. I can actually, yep, Mark, I've got that one on the list. Thank you. As things get done, they actually start here in draft, and so these are the AI has generated some descriptions from all the work that got done to say what was going on, and so we can use that to push things through. Let's see if there's anything that really needs to be pushed through. Yeah, this is a nice one, and it's described pretty well. And so, for example, if we just approve the description, now if we look in unpublished hotfixes and let this refresh, and this one still is blocked by the same kind of thing, probably. Yep, that same thing on App Builder is blocked. But this is our process. We take we go right from development, and as soon as it's ready, we push it on through. And I suppose credit where credit is due. Bogdan Latescu, our CEO and primary leader, has a vision for automating things. And so because we have such complex content, the number of, as I mentioned, many people baking with the same ingredients, that knowing that how much of an issue that is, that encouraging us to build these kinds of tools and make releases be just kind of a regular and automatic part of what we do, rather than an exception. So we're trying to grease the skids a little bit. That's what's going on with version 126, and a little behind the scenes look. Did that raise any questions with anybody? That's interesting to anyone?
Yes, interesting.
Yes, and yeah, again, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the work that Patrick just did on that, because it makes it very easy for us not only to release things, but to tell you what's holding it up, or for us to focus on what's holding it up, so that we can encourage developers, hey, you need to finish this thing, it's blocking us from getting it out. So it's really a great visibility tool. So other things I had on my list, I wanted to mention we are going to DNN Summit. At least I will be there. We don't know fully, but DNN Summit is coming up in the very first week of February. It's a hybrid event, virtual and in person in Las Vegas, and we will be in person. So looking forward to presenting, and to any of you that make it. I think I owe a few beers around, so hopefully they'll send me with an expense budget.
I'll be there, Dale, and we should definitely get together.
That would be great. Is there anything on the planning side from DNN Summit that you're able, willing, want to share?
Well, I could share that the registrations are coming in. People are doing some things a little bit early this time, which is nice for the planning side. We're really planning on making a fun event celebrating getting back together in person. So if anyone is watching and listening to this and they're contemplating doing it live or virtual, I'm going to recommend live. Come on down.
Perfect. Well, as we work on our planning to get ready, I will mention this several more times, and hopefully we can encourage people to get together and come to the event. Nice. Other things that have been going on. A week and a half ago, I did a presentation in the Low Code Cafe, the kind of more webinar style version of the events we do publicly. And I did a presentation on Open LDAP, and we've leveraged that presentation and generated documentation. So just on an ongoing basis, we're trying to get the content from the different things that we're doing into the documentation. So if you missed it and you want to just see the quick how-to version, there's the documentation is there. You can search for Open LDAP, or it's under security authentication. We have many other topics scheduled for authentication, so we expect this tree to grow over the coming weeks as we do more in that series. But you can see the connector and how to and all the action. If you blow it up, you might be able to read that. And we have a link to the video as well. Cool. Let's see. Did this one, going to drop it away. So Ben has showed up. We delayed long enough to get Ben in. Ben, I changed the title to No Way Out, but we were trying to do. We showed off a technique in Campfire a couple of weeks ago about reusing an action form to show messages, and so we get a page that's opened in a pop-up, and uh, I think I have that pulled up ready to go. If I can, well, I have it somewhere here. Simplifying messages, that was the one. So this is our community, or rather, our shared website called campfire.plantandapp.com, and you can find lots and lots of techniques, lots of contributions that people have made over the years. How do you do things? And we had one that said you can show a message, and this functionality of showing a message or displaying a form remotely, so the form exists on some other page on your site, and we're embedding it in somewhere. And so I think it was a neat technique to be able to share. And then whether you're trying to do exactly this or something similar, Ben was trying to say, okay, now I want to close this thing. So I know Ben and Mark, you both worked on this. Did you find a solution yet, or try Mark's solution yet?
I did not find a solution. And forgive me, I did not realize Mark put something up, or let me just check real quick what Mark wrote.
Yes. Let's see if I can find that.
No, I didn't see that. I will try that, but I did not see his response. Oh, you just put that up this morning. That's why I didn't see it. I checked it at 8 when I came in.
So on the
Is there any way to control the size of that window?
Yes.
Ooh, that's a good question too, because I was wondering that too. It comes up really big, and I don't need it to be that big in my case.
Right.
Well, I jumped in and said yes, and then let's see if I'm accurate.
Instant regret.
Yeah. I mean, here I've got 163 episodes under my belt, having never made a mistake, and now it's on the line. I believe that. Oh, nuts.
Yeah, if you do it in an embed, I don't think this setting will. I don't think, will it?
Yeah, that setting is not applying.
Yeah.
It's showing it's only 400 pixels, and yet we're seeing it at full size.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some way to do it, but we don't provide a way to do it. It's making a decision. We're using one of our scripts called embed. Nope, we're just grabbing it from here. So
what if you were to go? Sorry, Patrick.
I was gonna say the redirect action doesn't have that either, right? I don't recall that it does.
So this is the code that we're using, where we have a button that says redirect to URL. It says open and pop-up. So open and pop-up is doing the functionality, and so any control would come from whatever code is behind here, and we don't have any extra in there. So we're just using that embed code to load the form.
What if you were to change the opening pop-up width setting on the target form itself? I know it's reaching, but
I'm sorry, I missed what you're suggesting.
So this is referring to a form that's on another page, I think. If you were to go to the other page where the form exists and change its pop-up width in the settings.
That's what Dale was just pointing out, is that it's set at 400 right now. And you
Oh,
can't
okay.
and you can't change it to an in pop-up because it needs to be initially visible on the page because of the because you're calling the URL. So the display mode needs to be initially visible.
Yeah, I suspect, I mean, we're specifying a container, and I suspect you could work with defining a container that or we're actually specifying no container, but I suspect you could have a container that had some properties that you could pass and use
Well,
that container.
if there is an element of adjustability to the container that it is creating, said differently, if it's conforming to the width of the form that's coming in, or allowing itself to grow to a certain max width, then maybe if you were to add a master class to the target form and then set the width of the entire form using the master class.
Yeah, I suspect there is some CSS in play here that dialog container width 100%. Nope, here we go. Bigger. Nope, this one. Overlay 1 with 75% is coming in. So you could probably CDK overlay pane.
There you go.
So it is stylable if you know how that. So maybe we could look at this suggestion. Get element by ID.
Testing it right now. Hold on one second.
Good. All right. Better you than
I-
me. I mentioned before, I don't do much with JavaScript.
And another thing that I noticed, I don't know, maybe it's just my setup, but the width of the pop-up varied whether or not you called the pop-up from another action form or from a listing. Has anybody else seen that?
I have tried this, but I haven't noticed that difference yet.
Like I said, it might have just been the way I was set up at the time, but
It doesn't work, by the way, the JavaScript.
Maybe
Let's say not yet.
all right. If we get to the end and we haven't found it, maybe Patrick, if you can take a note, we can circle back to an expert like Radu Kolcha and see if he has a solution for that, because I would have to believe we've encountered this before. So now I'm taking this other challenge of it being different on a form.
So Dale, you just showed us this method of popping up an embedded form, what, 2 weeks ago? And
Yeah.
the three of us have already jumped on it and put it into action.
Nice. So
when Dale speaks, the world
well,
listens.
no, maybe I don't know if that's exactly the case, but where are we? So let's get this from a listing.
Oh,
Do the same thing.
just so you know, Mark, the reason it's currently not working is because the get element by ID my modal is returning nothing.
Oh, yeah, I think you need to put your ID of your form in there.
I have no clue what it would generate for that. I don't
Well,
know
I
if there
think
is an
you're in the
ID.
right place.
Daily, you want to import? Yeah.
I think we can figure that out.
So we're going to do the exact same thing with a sample message, title, whatever, but from a different place. So we save, and let's take a look at what we have here. So same action. It comes up this way in a listing. Comes up this way from a form.
That is interesting.
And actually, okay, so now we have to say, is the one from the form conforming to
Yeah.
the
A form calling another
settings?
form? Is it using? Yeah.
I think that looked wider than 400, but which is what your setting was, but it might be.
So this is annoying that you have to go to in popup to adjust these forms. I'm going to change it to 95%. We ought to be able to see that. And then you have to put it back to initially visible. And so having done that, no, we're just seeing a different result, but not under control. So that in itself is a little bit curious, and might probably opens with some different classes involved, which is annoying. It's probably under the form at some level.
Well, the good news is at least it wasn't me.
So I wonder if we had, we could dive in here. There's settings in here to be able to add classes, right? Somewhere, root classes. I wonder whether it, let's see if where that makes it into the mix. Container has it. Yeah, just two places. Just wondering if you could put a class and then work with the class somehow to find the thing that you're. So it's coming up CDK overlay pane. So now I'm just curious if we go to this other one, if it's coming up similarly. Yes, that's it there, modal dialog. So it looks like it works a little bit different under. The reason it looks different, the reason we're getting different widths is that there's different classes involved depending on where it comes from. So interesting. Such is the challenge of making all these things work well together. All right, so I kind of hoped if I brought it up that we would just find you the solution then, but we don't have that yet, so I guess we'll have to circle back and see if we get something from our dev team about that. The X, just out of curiosity, what you're trying to do is be able to have a form there or a listing or something, and then interacting with that thing, being able to close it versus having to hit the X.
Yeah, so the form that pops up, like you said, it's an interactive form and it's got to submit data back, or it can cancel and close the form. So either or, the submit and the cancel button that I have, both of them need to be able to close the form once it's done. And I've tried to redirect, and the redirect will just redirect in the pop-up.
Mm-hmm.
So I wind up with like a duplicate of the
Form on
page
form.
inside itself.
That's going to be fun. So
I would also wonder if I mean, there's an element here that you should be able to maybe click via
that's where
JavaScript,
my mind's going too.
but I don't know enough about how to do
So
that.
investigate it, give it a right click and we'll inspect it. And then if it's got an ID, you can call it by the ID and click it in JavaScript.
That's interesting because I don't see an X on mine.
It's got a close, it's got a label and a class. It's btn close.
The btn close is the class name is enough. You can use jQuery or JavaScript to identify it by its class name and then give it the click event in JS.
Not sure why you can see that close button and I don't have one.
Oh, really? I don't know why sometimes copy and paste works and sometimes it doesn't.
What was the class name? btn close.
So we have the I got too much going on here. This is the listing. We don't want to change there. There's a form that we don't want to play with. Here's where we need to work. So we want to put a button on here. Some JavaScript. Let's do entity. Well, it's an idea.
Hey Dale, try the jQuery that I dropped in the chat.
That would be too simple.
Simple's good when it works.
I can see it's trying to do something, but
Yeah.
it's not finding it. But I suspect there's a winner there somewhere. It's just syntax.
I wonder if that's not specific enough because it's an embedded form from another page. Are there possibly two of those close X's?
Should,
Let's say, and maybe it's not found, or I think there was, oh, yeah, on your version, there was not a alert if it wasn't
I
found.
think part of the problem, and I might be mistaken, is that this particular pop-up method opens up in an iframe, and an iframe, I believe, is considered like a separate
Yeah,
instance.
it is. It's separate.
And the iframe cannot see outside of itself.
Yeah, that's it. I think you have to do window.parent or something like that. I think I've done that before.
Mhm.
I forget exactly what it was, but yeah, I've done something like that before.
Overlay container. Yeah. Beyond my ability
Yeah,
to do in 5 minutes. So,
that's a question for your intern.
yes, exactly. And the fact that it shows up with multi-level of the fact that it shows up in an iframe kind of makes it hard to I typically would hand all that HTML off to my intern, as you put it, and then, but because it's two separate ones, it's like, uh, although let's.
I'd say this idea shows promise. I think you've identified it.
And yet, why? I mean, through the interface, you can click the button. So, I mean, what is this button not? Does it exist? Um,
That button, if I'm not mistaken, exists outside of the iframe. It's what's below that, where you have the hello there and the close me, that form, that's embedded within an iframe.
yes.
So that's why when you're inside the iframe, you can't reference something outside of the iframe.
So this is the whole thing, right? If I take all of that. Ah, lots of points to consider.
Quick look makes it, I'm thinking it's still staying inside the iframe with that.
Yep. Okay. So I guess we assign 10 points to the winner who finds the answer to this one and move on to something else. Does that work? Let's see if we can have a solution for Ben by next time.
I want the points.
Well, good luck with that. Speaking of points, we did campfire games, trying to find things that need to be improved in our inline documentation. I'm going to close off this round of this game and just declare Mark the winner because he suggested two things to be done. The most recent one was, and now let's see if I can even find it. I got to close some stuff here. Including the syntax for token params in the inline help. So when you create a token, being able to understand exactly how to how to insert a token into it, knowing that it's got to be magic word token params is what gets picked up. So I'll vote for that one, and I'll write it up. Yes, you win the points and the keychain. I'll probably bring it to you in February unless you're in a rush.
Oh, good idea.
All right.
Then I can show it off at the conference.
There you go. No new contributions to Campfire this week, but I had one that I was supposed to do. I just realized every picture in my house is not level. We had roofers yesterday, 12 roofers on putting on a new roof, and we've had things fall off the wall, but now I realize nothing is level. Sorry, squirrel there. Anyway, yeah, so I have one that I've assigned myself to do, but I haven't added anything. But I can't feel too bad. You guys didn't do anything either. All right, I'm seeing a bunch of empty slides. What else? We're back to first call. Patrick, what have you been working on? You want to show it off, or is it top secret?
No, I don't think there's anything top secret about it. I've shown the prototype about this before. So, but I think that we've talked about having a file manager in PlantinUp before, and I think we're headed that direction. So let me pull myself together here so I can.
Live and on the spot.
I was looking at.
Patrick's been working on a couple of things. I didn't even realize that he was on to File Manager, but then all the improvements to SQL Console, which I think we're closing in on as well. So lots of good things coming out of his department.
Okay, Patrick, I'm going to be pretty jealous if you get there before I do.
Well, I think that what you're going to see is missing some of the things that you're accomplishing with yours, but I'll put that in context for you. And if you want to help me, you're more than welcome to. But anyway,
I would love to.
Let's see. Why am I not seeing the shared dialogue? Oh, there it is. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so let me just refresh this. And it may, there may be some things at error. Let's see what we got here, because I'm in the middle of doing stuff. So this is 2 listing modules. This one over here has our has the hierarchy view in place, and so we can navigate to a specific place in here like this, and we have so we can multi-select things we want to delete or move. We can edit stuff. So if I want to edit that folder, it comes up here, and I can change the folder name and edit the permissions. This is for deleting the current folder I am, and you can see that the way that this is the direction we're heading is that this is designed to be put into PlantinUp configuration. So that's why there's no templating or menus at the top of the page or anything like that, because it's designed to go into PlantinUp configuration. And let's see, what else can I show you here? So of course we have the download and URL stuff and details for items come out from the side. The things that we don't have that we want to do at some point in the future is like the ability for me to multi-select things and then drag them into a folder over here. It's doable, but just not in the timeline we want for this. We want to get this out. Yeah, any questions, thoughts?
It looks great. Now, would you be, aside from putting it into the configuration option, would this then be an iteration of this available for kind of end user access?
So the one thing that's not in here yet, and I've been told not to work on that specifically in this iteration, is permissions. So I can set permissions on folders, but but this is not looking at permissions yet.
So meaning
Okay.
it's intended for a
This
administrator level use.
Yeah, exactly. It's intended for administrators right now.
Well,
Very
I
nice.
think it looks
Very
great,
nice.
and
Yep.
I applaud that you are building this because we really need it.
Yeah. And so, the challenge, of course, is that making this completely portable, and it is right now. So I can take this page and its associated tokens and put it on any system, and it'll work.
Any system with Plantanet.
Yeah, any system with Plantanet, obviously. Yeah. So that's the challenge as far as the interaction between the modules and everything, and is that we have to make it so it's all portable. So that adds a little extra level of complexity to it. I mean, it's not that bad, but I know there's other things that we could do with JavaScript and stuff like that, but it's all got to be we have to figure out dynamic ways of targeting the modules that are on the page.
Why do you have to target modules on the page?
So there's a lot of refreshing and stuff that's happening here.
Oh, this page. You're
Yeah,
targeting
yeah.
this page.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so it has to be. I mean, I can't hard code IDs in here.
Sure.
That's the point.
Yes,
Yeah.
please don't. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a function. So when I click on a folder, there's a function that runs that of course refreshes the listing here. It also changes the breadcrumb up here, and then that same function is called when I click on a folder down here, or when I click on a folder from the breadcrumb, the same function is called that does all the updating. If I click on something over here, that function is called, and so obviously it has to dynamically know what it's working on.
That's really cool.
And so if let me go back to the root here, and this option here I had for multi-selecting stuff. So if I multi-select some folders and then some files, and then say delete those, I get a confirmation here of everything that I deleted, and confirming that I want to delete all this stuff. I'm not going to do that because that would kind of mess up my system. If I choose to move.
I'm sorry for interrupting. How is that pop-up created? Is that a form on the page? What is that?
Yes, this is a form, correct.
Okay, very good, thank you.
And then so this is the same form, but I'm moving files instead of deleting them. And if I specify, so this is a type ahead. This is a little bit, I don't love how this is, but for now it'll work. So, but it's a type ahead, so I can find stuff pretty easy if I want to. So, and then down here, I just been asked to confirm that I want to move everything that's listed here to this folder.
I don't see that as a problem versus having to, that looks very workable.
Yeah, I mean the ideal thing would be that it's a tree, but that actually might, in some ways that might be a little bit harder to deal with. This is very clear on exactly what's happening here, and the type ahead lets you find stuff pretty quickly too.
You could have a combination tree and type ahead.
Yeah, that would be the most ideal thing. Yeah.
Can you preview or view an image file in here?
Right now, they're just an image file will open in a new tab.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so presumably you could get the URL from that new tab, because getting the URL is also another task that we often need.
Right. So I have an images folder here, don't I? Yep, images. This has all been working pretty fast. Why is it as soon as I go to demo it? It seems kind of slow. Anyway, yeah, so I can click it here, yeah, to get the URL, or also if I go here and choose get URL.
Great. Okay.
Yeah. So this is actually giving me the link click, but and that's I need to figure out the formatting on this, but of course the thing about following the link completely is that then I get the link click resolves, and if it's not a secure, if it is not in a secure folder, it gives me the actual URL to use. Any thoughts? Any suggestions that you think would be helpful and relatively fast to implement?
How about setting the properties on the folders, like permissions and such? Did you already show that?
Yeah, we do that. So on any, so for this folder right here, if I click edit, so right now I'm editing the image folder. I can change the name of the folder, and I can set the browse open and create permissions, and that's just a drop down the checkbox list. And then if I go back to root and I want to do it this way, I can edit any folder here just by coming over here and clicking edit, and it opens up the same form.
Okay, so I'm looping through the things that I know that I still need to finish with what I'm working on, and you're checking all my boxes, which is great. So I see up in the upper right-hand corner, you've got sync up there as well.
Yeah,
so you can trigger that. It's one of the things we need to do.
One thing that I want to do but haven't gotten to yet is to have the ability to say to propagate these permissions to the child objects.
So yeah, Patrick, I think it looks very clean, and for all the people that are on the call, it's pretty easy to recognize that the low code pieces that you're using. We've got the left-hand side is a listing that is in, is it a listing or a form?
That's a listing with the hierarchy view. Yep.
Listing with a hierarchy view. Listings and forms popping up using all kinds of our actions to do things. So all this is a low code implementation of a what's probably typically been a very coded thing within the product.
Yeah, and I'm making discoveries along the way, which one thing I discovered that I don't know, I hadn't even noticed it before, is that we don't have an action for moving a file from one folder to another folder. And I just didn't realize that. Did you deal with that, Mark? Did you figure that out?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I think
I
coded it.
Yeah, that's what I ended up doing too. But I just didn't realize we didn't have an action to do that.
One of the reasons that I mention it is this is a very cool thing that we can provide within Plant an App, and the code will be available when we release it, unless there's a change in tack that I'm not aware of. So
yeah, so you could take it
and
yeah.
How did he do that? Or I want to add my own custom spin on it.
Yeah, and I would think that, I mean, I don't think it's just more there's just a little bit more work to do to make it read permissions, and I would think that anybody on this call could probably take this and then and make it read permissions. Just in case you're curious, I wanted to, I don't know how you dealt with it, Mark, but I just made a razor token that moves the file, and it just uses the .NET Nuke API. Is that what you did, or?
No, I did it with low code. It took several steps.
Oh, did you do a delete and a copy and delete? Is that
Yeah. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
so I specifically did not want to do a copy and delete because I wanted to maintain the file ID, and a copy and delete uh, creates a new
Sure.
file ID.
That sure would. Good
Yeah, so
point.
that's what I so my so I used the DNN API to create a Razor script that moves the file. And I know that
Okay.
I could have I could have done something in C sharp and put it in the folder, but I really wanted put it in the file system. But I wanted this to be once again, the target is that we want this to be very portable and easy to implement. So
So how would a person make it portable? Like, it's just going to be in the configuration screen, right? Or do we need to copy a page template and
yes, it'll be a page template, and I think you guys are probably all aware that these are usually hidden, but we have these namespaces that exist, the PAA sys updates, PAA sys automation. There's another one, isn't there? Dale, why am I not seeing it here? Maybe I haven't unhidden it. Um,
I really don't know, but there are a number
yeah,
of spaces with
yeah.
tokens.
So anyway, there'll be a new hidden system namespace for tokens called PAA sys documents. And so the only requirements for this is this set of tokens and the export of this page right here.
But if you were to do this page on the same system or any system that has that version of Plantain app, you could make your own copy of it and put your own tweaks to it. Those
Right.
tokens are already going to
Yeah.
exist.
Yeah.
So
and a reason you might want to do that might be that you can expose it to your logged in users. Is that why?
Right, but with only if you make the decision to implement the permission check, because this doesn't have a permission check on it right now.
Mhm. Mhm.
Did you, is your system that you're using, Mark? I'm assuming that you've done a permission check with it, right?
No, I
No,
did
okay.
not do that yet. I am taking a little bit of a different tack though. I really wanted to make mine ultra portable, meaning you don't have to have Plantain app to use it. You just have to have Action Form, which Action Form is still available
Mm-hmm.
with outside of Plantain app. And so um, I'm doing things a little bit of the harder way. I can't take advantage of that those listings, any listing.
Okay.
So it's harder. But
Yeah, yeah.
it should I think when I get it finished, it will introduce Plantain app to many other DNN users.
Mm-hmm. Sure, yeah.
But I like what you're doing a lot. I'll be using yours before mine is done. That's for sure.
Cool.
all right. Can I steal back the share? Is that
Yeah.
right?
Just a quick question, Patrick, any idea about anticipated availability?
Oh, I think we're trying to get this into 1.27. So
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure you
Good.
know, and I just want to say it out loud that there's such a hole there
yeah.
in good file management. So really happy that you're building that in.
Yes, and looks great too.
Yes, it
Thanks.
does. Very clean.
So I wanted to mention a ghost story. Mark came up with this week that he was doing something in display error message and discovered that all the styling that he was doing was being stripped off. He's just trying to display something to verify it. And correct me if I'm getting it wrong, but trying to during the normal process of creating and debugging low code, maybe you've got an intermediate step where you want to display something, and in this case, he was trying to display a table that had different um, styles that were not being displayed in the display error message. So display error message does its own thing, and so not realizing that you're spending time trying to solve something that isn't
Exactly.
broken. So knowing that display error message is it is a debugging tool you can throw things out and display the values, but it's not intended as a display tool that's going to nicely render your HTML.
I had somewhat of a similar, kind of similar thing that I dealt with this week too. Was that when you saw that breadcrumb that showed the folders in the when I was just sharing a minute ago, that is in the header of the listing. The you know, the header setting that you have under advanced UI settings in a listing. And I discovered that if you put a div in there, the only attribute you can give that div is a class. If you put an ID, it doesn't render when the header area is put onto the page. If you put a style tag or a style attribute, it doesn't render when it's put onto the page. The only attribute it will put onto the page is the class. So just a weird little thing. I don't know why, but that was what I discovered.
After some pain, I'm gonna guess.
What's that?
After some pain, feeling some pain to get that far to figure out why isn't this working?
Well, I thought, because I wanted to dynamically update the div, and so I thought, well, and I need an ID, and I couldn't give it an ID. So anyway, obviously I figured it out, but yeah, that's my story.
Excellent, very good hour. Thanks for showing that off, Patrick. Lots of other good things that we are at work on, and we'll reveal those as time goes on. I was in a meeting today that there's a discussion about trying to get better at newsletters to let you know what's going on, and so we'll be contributing to content for that, but probably also highlighting content for that in future episodes of Campfire. So lots going on with our stuff. We want you to know about it. With that, I'm going to take leave, and good episode. Thank you all for participating, showing up week by week. We'll do this again next Friday at 10 a.m. Central. Have a good week, everyone. Hang around for Afterglow if you have a few minutes.
Thank you, Dale. Thank you, Patrick.